Hey there, I hope you're doing well. I'm Shawna, your counseling astrologer, and this is your weekly astrology forecast for August 29th through September 4th. And this week is really about working through healing self-worth. We have some energy involving Venus and Mercury as well, so I'm excited to share the astrology of this week with you. And as always, I'll have 3 tips for you to make the most out of this week. All right, so the first thing that's happening is we have Mercury, which is the mind, intellect, thought process, opposing Jupiter. And so this is an important aspect for a couple of different reasons. Number one, it can be about information overload, like having all of the ideas, all of the thoughts, and sort of having like this spinning feeling even. So this is really great if you have an outlet to capture all of your ideas, or if you work in any kind of communication type of field. This is going to be good. There's going to be a lot of flow of ideas. The fact that it is an opposition does mean that it's a little more challenging. And to me, it feels like this week there's a balance between doing the practical things, which is Mercury, and dreaming the big dreams, which is Jupiter. And how do we, not necessarily how do we marry the two, but how do we move back and forth between the two and find a way to allow both to exist. The other part about this week, this particular aspect, is that this aspect, the Mercury-Jupiter, so thought expansion, is a part of Mercury's retrograde process, because Mercury is going to retrograde and come back here. So it's going to come back and make this aspect again. That's not happening until next week, so please mark your calendar. Mercury will be retrograde starting next week on September 9th until October 2nd. And that's going to happen in Libra. It's in Libra now, and then it's going to move back into Virgo and then move forward again. So if you are familiar with your chart, that's a very particular sensitive place, the Libra and Virgo, to pay attention to in your personal birth chart. And also, don't freak out about it. It's okay. Mercury is really just about reflecting and looking back on our past experiences. It doesn't necessarily mean that anything bad is going to happen. It is a time frame, though, where things can feel like they're slowing down, or it can feel like things are taking longer, especially mercurial kind of things like communication, business deals, contracts, and I would say too, just like clarity on what it is that you're thinking about, because Mercury is the mind. And this is because, so there's this slowdown because it takes more psychic energy to reflect and to look back on things. I'm thinking about times when I've been writing a really big paper, especially one that requires me to look back on material that I've been absorbing all this time, and now I have to look back and reflect on it. Or when I need to go through some old things and clear out space in my closet, and there's all of these memories that come up from those things. It takes psychic energy to go back and do that process. And so I want you to know, I'm just prepping you for Mercury retrograde. We'll talk about this particular one more next week and in the weeks to come. But I just want to prep you that it's normal to require more time and space to process, and we're moving into that more reflective place, which actually is more productive because it's allowing for us to change and transform. Okay, the other thing that's happening this week is we're having the first quarter moon in Sagittarius. So first quarter moon is right in the middle between the new moon and the full moon. And so this is kind of like a pivot point where it's the midpoint of growth in the lunar cycle. So it can be a time where you look back at the progress and the things that you've been doing and decide if you want to make any changes in how you're focusing your time, how you're focusing your energy. What I think is interesting is this is gonna tie into the other part of this week, which is Venus changing signs into Virgo. I didn't mention the first quarter moon is happening Saturday the 3rd or Sunday the 4th, depending on where you are in the world. So that's kind of where that energy may come up, is closer to the weekend. Venus moving into Virgo, so from Leo to Virgo. And this to me is really about working with healing and working with your sense of self-worth and your values. One way of looking at Venus is that it is relationships. It's also associated with money and our values. It is what we most value, what we prize, what we're attracted to. And the things, it's a symbol of the things that bring us a sense of joy and pleasure, the things that we value in our experience. Now, it's also connected to your sense of self-worth, what in yourself that you value or how you value yourself. So this week can be a really great week for contemplating that, for looking at how you connect to others, Venus, but also how you connect to yourself, Venus and Virgo. I find that people with Virgo placements, but especially Venus or Moon in Virgo, can sometimes have very high standards for themselves and can benefit from being a little more gentle on themselves, looking at themselves with a higher sense of esteem and self-worth because they are so amazing. All right, so 3 tips for you. These first 2 are reflection questions for you. So you can maybe journal with them later if you like. Number 1 reflection question is, what do you deny yourself of because you don't think that you deserve it? Or maybe it would be too much. So, and this is not to say that you should automatically give it to yourself. This is for, I want you to like sit with this and to stew on this. What kinds of things, activities, or qualities do you deny yourself because you think you don't deserve it or it's too much or something like that? And why may that be? Second reflection question is, what 3 feelings do you want to feel every day? And maybe there's more, but if you could just pick 3, like what are the most important things that you really, really would love to feel every single day? And I want you to sit with this. So maybe some certain things come to mind, but reflect on it. Like why those feelings? Why are those so important to you? And then number 3 is to put those feelings into a daily prayer or intention statement. Maybe even like write it on a little note card or a post-it that you can have by your bed. And it doesn't have to be this fancy practice, but just something to keep those close to you, to ritualize that. Venus in Virgo is very much about healing through ritual, healing through process, healing through having this, this repeated regimen every single day, which is what a ritual is. All right. I am sending you so much love and wishing you a wonderful week. Bye for now.